Hello, Islam. Just starting my day as usual. Am I awake? I think so. Hello, Flavia. Hello, Lapido and Fatma and Carlos. Yeah, it's a rainy day here. No thunder and lightning, but just light rain. Lapido, that's too big of a question, man. Or woman, I'm not sure. I can't see your picture well enough. Go to my YouTube channel. If you're going to ask a big question like that, I'm just going to tell you to go to my YouTube channel. There are lots of videos you can watch to see tips for learning English. But, Lapido, let me teach you a simple, important lesson. If you meet a teacher and you want help, then you need to ask the right questions. You need to ask good questions. And if you ask a question like that, my teacher told me this. He said, if somebody wrote a book about it, then that's not a good question. There are thousands of books written about how to improve your English. So, that question is too big. I would have to answer with an entire book. Okay? But maybe you want to ask about something specific to your English. Do you have trouble with reading, writing, listening, speaking, vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation? Ask specific questions. Don't just ask how to improve English. That's like me asking you, how can I learn Tagalog? Tagalog. I always forget how to say it. Tagalog. You can't tell me that. How can I learn Spanish? Nobody can answer that question quickly. Okay? Ask a question that's something smaller that I can actually answer. Okay? Hello, Daniel. I teach English, Lydia, and music. Hello, Jagmeet. How have I been? I've been okay. There's a triangle on my forehead. All right, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Ha 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 ha. Lydia, now I'm not teaching in a school at all. I teach online. But I used to teach English in Taiwan for 4 years. I taught kindergarten age students and elementary and junior high and high school and college aged and adults. And Bushangqi, is that really how you want to start off my stream? You want to start off my stream by laughing at me? Really? Hello, Rabbit. Long time no see. You would love to talk to me about communication skills. Okay, Daniel, what's your question? Or do you want to come on my stage and talk to me? I can do that in just a minute after I finish my breakfast. Of course I know Piano Man. 我会说中文。我会。Okay. Let's see. Yes, Billy Joel, Piano Man. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Right? Yeah, Daniel, I'll bring you up on the stage in just 1 minute. Advin, I was eating something called an English muffin, which is a funny thing because it's actually not English, it's American. Hello, Sajad. Hello, Aga Wisniewska from Poland, I think. Hello, hello. How long have I learned Chinese? I don't know. I'm self-taught and I've been teaching myself for more than 10 years. Hello, Leonardo. I'm okay. Do I read YouTube? Yes, I do. Do I read the YouTube chat? Yes, I do, Big Gulp. And yes, Hallel, I am a drummer, so those are drums behind me. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. And yes, I'm streaming both on HelloTalk and YouTube at the same time. My HelloTalk stream is also on YouTube. So as soon as this is finished, it will be uploaded to YouTube and you can go watch it again and again and again. Islam, Muhammad is my friend, and that's my YouTube channel. He's posting my YouTube channel. That's not his, that's mine. What inspired me to learn Chinese? I lived in Taiwan, and I decided I wanted to learn it. That's the short answer. Which language do deaf people think in? Well, that's a thought-provoking question. They think in whatever language that they were raised in. However, they don't use, and they also think in. It depends on the deaf person. Some deaf people will think in sign language. Some deaf people will probably think in a combination of sign language and some form of what language they learned without speaking as a major component. All right, I'm going to talk to Daniel. Hello, Daniel. Good to see you
Hello,
again. How are
Mark.
you, my friend?
I'm pretty good. Thank you for having me. Sure, Mark.
Of course. So let's talk. What was your
Yeah,
question again? You wanted to talk about what?
yeah. You know, I have a question like, how can I improve my, how can I develop a good humor when I engage conversation with people? I know you're good at making jokes and you know how to connect with people nicely. So how can I develop a good humor? How do I learn to make a joke or something,
Well,
Mark?
I don't usually make jokes. I just laugh about things that are silly. So that's an interesting question. Smile. That's really all you have to do, man. You don't have to make jokes. You just have to smile and project a good demeanor. Demeanor means your personality. You know, project a good
Mm,
personality, and then people will pick up on that. If you, you have to show that you're good at listening.
mm,
Not everyone shows that when they speak. Sometimes when people speak, they're clearly not listening to what you're talking about. And even I am guilty of that sometimes. It's very common that some people, when somebody says something to them, they're already thinking about what they want to say next. And so they stopped listening to you. And I have to try to think about that often and try to prevent myself from doing that. I try to tell myself to listen to what they're saying and let them finish what they're saying before I decide what I'm going to say. And that can be hard sometimes because sometimes you think of what you want to say and you're afraid you're going to forget it.
mm,
And so you keep thinking about what you want to say instead of thinking about what they're listening or I'm sorry, you're not thinking about what they're saying. You're not listening to what they're saying. So there are times when people talk to me and I might write down a note while they're talking. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to forget the thing that I'm trying to say, but I also don't want to stop listening to them. So maybe I'll write a quick note, just 2 words or 3 words that will help me remember my point, and then I can
mm.
stop writing and listen to them and let them continue to say what they're saying and give them my full attention. So I think you just have to show that you listen and you listen with compassion. You know, I don't think everybody always thinks that I'm positive, or I'm glad most people seem to, but I think that there are some people who don't like my personality and don't like the way I am because I don't put up with crap. So what I mean is if you're not here to learn and you're not here to be serious, then you're wasting my time, because I am here to be serious. And I am here to help people learn and to talk about important things and to try to make this a valuable space for people. So there are times when I get a little frustrated because some people are clearly not on the same page that I am on. And I think that that's okay in my situation. That's okay only because this is my live stream. So I am the one who gets to decide what we do here. No one else gets to decide it. I'm the teacher. I get to tell you what we're doing, and that's how it works. But I think that not everybody feels that way, and that's not my problem. So, Daniel, I think, look, what I just did there is I said something somewhat uncomfortable. I said, that's not my problem if you don't like what I do, but I laughed about it afterwards because I'm trying to keep a light feeling about it, even though I'm saying something serious. Right. So right. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly the right way to do it. It's not that I'm telling jokes. I don't really tell jokes, but I do often use smiles and laughter to try to say things that are maybe a bit harsh, but they don't come off as too harsh because I'm laughing and I'm smiling when I say them. Now, hopefully they don't come off as too condescending either. I'm not trying to be condescending, but I do try to make points with them. Comedy is often a very good way to make very important points. The truth is, in America, if you really want to hear straight talk about stuff, sometimes the best place to go is to go to a comedy club, go see a comedian, or watch comedians online. Because comedians, that's... not all comedians, but a lot of them, that's their job, is to point out things that are troubling things in this world, but they point them out with humor. That doesn't make them any less serious. That just means it's easier to talk about when you talk about them through humor, right? Mm-hmm. So, sometimes the best way to talk about the hard subjects is with a smile and a laugh. You know, if you're always just, like this, then sometimes it's too serious and people can't handle that. But if you joke about it a little bit, then it can be a bit easier to bridge the gap between people. But you have a good demeanor, man. You smile and you're polite and you listen. So I don't think you have anything to worry about. I think you just need to use the personality that you have, and people will recognize that.
Thank you so much for your kind compliment, teacher Mark. And another question is, most people don't know how to break the ice when they meet a new person. Like maybe it might be someone meets for the first time a woman, and he have no any clue how to break the ice. So if you I would love to hear if you have a piece of advice on breaking the ice.
Sure. So breaking the ice is an idiom that it's actually, it comes from boats. A long time ago, when boats would come into ports, if it was the winter time, sometimes the ice was solid frozen and the boat could not come in. So people actually had to go out with hammers and try to break the ice so the boat could come in to welcome the boat into that port. And breaking the ice is not that hard. You just have to do one simple thing. Be curious about the person in front of you. That's it. Be curious about them. Where are you from? What do you do? What do you like to do for fun? What's your favorite music? What's your favorite food? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? What did you study in school? Have you traveled around a lot? Did you live someplace else before? These are just questions, boom, boom, boom. They come to my mind as soon as I meet somebody because I'm curious about people. So, I want to know, what's your background? It's just like that. So you just need to think about, being curious. That's it. Be curious about the person in front of you. And that's all you need to do to break the ice. It's not as hard as people think, but it does take practice, just like anything else. Everything in this life, if you want to be good at it, it takes practice. Okay? Can you hear me, Daniel? Oh, did I lose you, Daniel? Or am I frozen? Hello, Miguel. Oh, there we are. Hello, Daniel. Okay, good. Was I frozen or was Daniel frozen, everyone? And Lapido, I see your question. Please be patient and don't write your question 100 times in my chat. I will answer it when I'm ready, okay? I'm talking to someone now, so you have to wait. Okay? All right. See, look, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I'll tell somebody, you can't do that, but I'll do it with a smile, and I'll say, hey, you got to wait. Look, it's obvious I'm in the middle of a conversation. I cannot answer your question while I'm talking to another person. That's the way it works. So you have to be patient and wait. Yeah. So just be curious, man. Be curious, be curious. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So, like yesterday, you were talking about like the best way to improve any language is like thinking on that specific language, and
I think that's one of the most crucial and important parts of language learning, and it's the one part of language learning that they never ever talk about. It's not in any books anywhere, and it's weird, How can you learn something if you don't think about it? If you want to learn math, you have to think, right? You have to use your mind to think. If you want to learn, pick another subject, science, you have to think in order to learn science too, right? So why is it that we teach people language and we don't ever ask them about thinking? We don't mention thinking. We don't talk about it at all. So that's why I said 50% of your language practice should be thinking practice. So whatever you're learning, if you're learning reading, writing, listening, and speaking, if you're doing those things for an hour a day or 2 hours a day, that's great. But whatever practice you're doing in that way, those are what I call the physical aspects of language learning. Then you also need to do 50% of mental practice. So if you do 2 hours of practice every day in reading, writing, listening, and speaking, then you need to do 2 hours of thinking. And when you think, you should be practicing the things that you learned when you were reading, writing, listening, and speaking, and also just trying to improvise with the language in your mind. Improvise with what you know. And this is why I make the parallel that music is like language and language is like music. When I learn a new skill in music, I think about it. I imagine it in my mind, and I improvise with that music in my mind. So again, if you're learning something physically, then you have to also put some time into practicing it mentally to make it live in your mind. And if it doesn't, then that's why we forget language. That's why we forget, how to speak well if you don't practice it in your mind. Okay? There are some people who they use the language so much, like maybe they learn Spanish and then they use Spanish a lot. Maybe their family speaks Spanish, or they have friends who speak Spanish, or at work they can speak Spanish. And if they can use it a lot, then they are okay. But there are many people who they learn a language and they don't have a very good opportunity to practice it often. And so because they don't have an opportunity to practice it often and they're not thinking about it, then they lose it. It's very easy to lose language learning if you don't have some way of keeping it fresh. And I'm just telling you that the best way to keep it fresh is to make sure that it's always living in your mind. Daniel is from, you're from Ethiopia, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's wondering where you're from. So,
I, yeah. By the way, Mark, here in Ethiopia, it's pretty difficult to find someone who's someone native English speaker here in my. Actually, I'm from the capital.
mhm.
Uh, I often try to engage conversation like with good English speaker, or if I get a chance, like I always try to come up to the stage on these kinds of live stream. So I was wondering if you could give us suggestion like on finding a native speaker, like how can someone find a native English speaker if he is not on that the on whether it might be in English or in America. Yeah.
Well, I just did a search online very quickly, and I found a group that's called the Ethiopian English Language Professionals Association in Addis Ababa, I think. Let me see. Well, what I was doing was I was just seeing, okay, you said there are not many people to practice with there. Well, I wanted to see for myself, and I did a quick search just to see if I find any groups about English learning or English speaking. And the truth is, in many, many countries, in many cities, big cities, you can find a group of people who regularly get together to practice speaking English, right? So when I lived in Taiwan, every major city in Taiwan had an English language speaking group that would get together once a week at a cafe. And it was a different group of people every time. Whoever wanted to come would come. And some people were natives, some people were non-natives, but everybody was there to practice speaking English. And there were all levels, and it was completely fine. And it was always really good. It was always really fun. So, I would suggest that you do a search for that. This Ethiopian English Language Professionals Association looks pretty good. And also, there's another group called the Online English Speaking Club with a British native speaker. So that one is in Addis Ababa also. Addis Ababa. So there are a couple of groups that are maybe online, not in person, but groups in Addis Ababa that you can try to see if you can find. And if you can't find one, make one. If you can't find a group of people who get together already, then create your own, man. Create your own. Get a Facebook page, start a Facebook page or whatever, Instagram or something, and say Daniel's English Speaking Practice Group, whatever. And see if you can find a few people who want to get together to practice speaking English. Like I said many times on my stream here, if you can't find native speakers to practice with, then you should find non-native speakers to practice with. Other people like you. And maybe they might have better ability than you do. So it's still good practice for you. And if they don't have better ability than you, it's still good practice because practice is practice, one. And two, as I've mentioned many times before, teaching is one of the best kinds of practice you can do. So if your ability is much better than theirs, teach them. And that is great practice for you, okay? So if you cannot find a group of people who are already getting together, create one. All you have to do is go to a local coffee house or cafe and talk to the boss and say, hey, would it be okay if I brought a group of people in here once a week to practice English speaking? You know, and usually they'll say, yeah, that'd be great because it's business for them. You know, as long as you buy some things, as long as you tell them, yes, we'll buy coffee or whatever, we'll have coffee and drinks while we're there, then yeah, they'll love it. They love it. And then you can start with just a few people, and if more people find out about it and talk about it, then it will get bigger and bigger. Okay?
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a very invaluable insight, Mark. And one last question. Today I had a class on this platform, English teaching class, and I was teaching the phrase that goes like this: "Make yourself all honey, and the flies will devour you."
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. We have a
Yeah.
similar
What do you
phrase.
think?
We have a similar phrase to that. We say it's easier to catch flies with honey. What is it? Honey than vinegar, I think is the original phrase. Yeah, something like that. If you use honey, then the bees will come. If you use vinegar, then they won't. Vinegar is sour, right? So, yeah, that's the basic idea, and that's a good phrase. If that's one you created, that's one that's similar to other phrases. There are many countries or cultures that have a phrase similar to that.
Yeah, the thing is like this phrase, Mark, like it warns against like to be overly sweet with people, to be overly nice to people, like because people may take advantage of you if you accommodating like excessively. So I was like surprised. I'm 26 and I read like yesterday, you know. So I want to hear your perspective on this phrase. What do you think,
There
Mark?
will always be people who take advantage of your goodness, but that doesn't mean you should change your goodness. In my opinion, when people take advantage of your goodness, it's their own downfall. There are some people in this world who see the world as a very, how do I put this? They see the world as a place where if you don't take advantage of other people, then they're going to take advantage of you. So that's they try to take advantage of as many people as they can. And there are other people in this world who are trying to project a feeling of compassion and kindness and help. And they just want to help as many people as they can. So, put it this way. It's like sometimes in America, people will say, well, if you give that homeless guy some money, he's just going to take it and go use it to buy drugs or something. Maybe he will. Maybe one of them will. Maybe two of them will. Maybe some of them will. I don't care, to be honest with you. I focus on the fact that what I'm doing is good. What I'm doing is a good thing. He's somebody who needs help, and I'm giving help. And maybe he will use it to buy something that I don't want him to buy, but maybe he'll use it to buy food. Maybe he'll use it to buy something he really needs. It doesn't, when you choose to be compassionate or good, you don't get to choose how someone uses that compassion. You just get to choose how you give it away. Right? It's like a gift. If you give a gift away, you don't get to tell somebody how to use that gift. You gave it to them. Now it's theirs. They can do whatever they want with it. Right? So if I give you a book and you read it, that's great. But I might give you a book and you use it to keep the rain off your head. However you choose to use it, it's a gift I gave to you. That doesn't matter. Maybe you burn it to keep warm. I don't care. That's not my place to tell you. If I gave you a gift, it's a gift. Once I give it away, that's out of my hands. And I'm not going to say, oh, well, he didn't read the book, so I'm not going to give anybody any books anymore. No, you know, good deeds are good deeds. They don't. Good deeds are not decided by how someone uses them. Good deeds are decided by how someone gives them.
Yeah. So, how do we keep our boundaries with people, Mark? How do you keep your boundary? Like, because if you don't if you don't set boundary, sometimes people may treat you like irrespectfully or something. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to just assert your value. And asserting your value is not about telling somebody how important you are. It's just about showing how important you are by being important. Don't talk about it, do it. When you do it, that's all you need to do, right? So occasionally there are people here who want me to lower my price and lower my price and lower my price for my lessons. And I can't do it. I'm already lower than I should be, to be honest with you, you know? And I know that it's, for some people, it's not affordable. But what upsets me is there are some people who want me to lower their price or lower my price when they can afford it. They absolutely can afford it. They're just being cheap, and they think that it's a good thing to haggle or to try to tell you that you should, you know. But not everything is a business deal in this world. Sometimes you have to accept the price that someone gives you. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is setting boundaries is something that you can't really have a set of rules for. You just have to judge each person that's before you as the person before you. And if they're not treating you with respect, then you should tell them they're not treating you with respect. And then after that, I guess we lost him. I think he ran out of time. Just to finish my sentence here, if somebody's not treating you with the respect that you deserve, then you should tell them. And if they continue to do it, then you should walk away. It's that simple. We have an old phrase, well, it's a little bit rude, but screw me once, your fault. Screw me twice, my fault. And what that means is everybody is entitled to make one mistake, you know, and then after that, if you continue to let them, you know, make mistakes, then that's on you. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. Occasionally, compassion should be more than a one-time event. You know, understanding should be more than a one-time event. Because people do make mistakes. But you have to make sure you communicate to them that they made a mistake. Right? Okay, so that was a good conversation with Daniel. Now let me go back and try to talk to some people here, or I should say, let me answer some questions, because there's a lot of questions in my chat here. So let me answer some questions in the chat, and then I'll get somebody else up on the stage. How do I spend my day? Most days, Lydia, I work. I focus on this. I focus on writing my book. I focus on making videos. I focus on my website that's coming up. I focus on my podcast. I focus on everything that I need to do, which is a lot. Happy says, why can I understand what people are saying, but I can't understand listening from exams? Happy, that depends on how you have the exam. Sometimes I took a Chinese listening exam, and when I took it, I couldn't understand them either. But the reason why was because the classroom that I was in had a lot of reverberation in the room, which means that the speakers, they were playing the speaking test in Chinese out of these speakers in the classroom, and it sounded like this. Now you can't understand me very well because there's too much reverberation. So, sometimes the problem is not you. Sometimes the problem is they don't have a proper environment for you to listen. Now, what did I do in that case? I asked them, can I take the test again, but with my headphones so that I can listen and hear it properly? Okay? So, you can see if you can ask them if that's a possibility. If you can say, hey, I want to take the test, but that's not clear, so I can't understand it. But if you let me listen to it through headphones, then maybe I can. Okay? Hello, Sarah. What does a good teacher really need to know to help students? That's a big question. Again, Lapido. What kind of students? What age of students? What are they learning? What subject are they learning? Is it private lessons or is it public classes? Is it group? How many students are in the group? There are so many factors that go into that. But Lapido, a good teacher just needs to know more than the students do, and they have to want to help them, and they have to be a good communicator and a good motivator. That's what a good teacher needs to know. Okay? Lydia, I smile when I'm ready to smile. I'm serious because it's what I do. This is my job. Sometimes you have to be serious about what you do. Hello, Sadef. Hello, Jagmeet. Hello, Patty. Unrecognized says, English can be understood through tough, thorough thought, though. That's true. Ria, it's an open topic today. Free chat. Lydia, I'm not married. I don't have any kids. No. Saraya, yeah, don't put up with crap. Without an S. That's a slang phrase that basically means that you won't tolerate people who are mistreating you or misbehaving. I'm too cold. Lydia, do you think I'm too cold? That one I don't recognize. Oh, Ethiopia. That's why I didn't recognize it. Ria, give me a few minutes here. I'm still answering some questions. Malak, you should join my YouTube channel and watch it and pay attention to the tips I give there. Okay? And you need a good book to start. Okay? Hello, Prince Priya. You're welcome, Bella Della Torre. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, Hossein, I now have a new policy about my price. My price is non-negotiable. I don't negotiate with anybody anymore about my price because I made that mistake one time. I had somebody who wanted to negotiate my price, and they said it was too expensive, so I offered to teach them for a lower price if they offered to buy many lessons. And even after I lowered my price, they still said it was too high, and they wanted me to come down lower. No. Somebody offers to lower your price, and now you're going to haggle more? No. Sorry. That's done. We're done with that now. I'm not doing it anymore. So here's how I haggle from now on. If you say your price is too high and I say, okay, well then, $25 an hour, and they say, oh, well, that's still too high. Then I'll say $35 an hour. And they'll say, wait a minute, I thought we were negotiating. And I'll say, we are. And now the price is $40 an hour. So, yeah, I'm not negotiating anymore about that. That's not something I can do anymore because sometimes people do take advantage and they think it's a game. It's not a game. No, the price that somebody sets is the price that they are valued at. And if you try to negotiate with them, then you are essentially devaluing them. So, yeah. Hello, Asim. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it. And it was wonderful to talk with you as well. When someone says cannot put up with cold, do we say he's cold-natured? Yeah, sometimes people will say he's cold or he's cold-natured. I don't think I'm cold. I think I'm serious. This is my time. I don't like the morning. I wake up early to help you. So yeah, when I turn on the camera, I'm serious about what I'm doing. This is not a game for me. This is my entire business. This is my life. So yeah, if you don't like my personality, that's okay. You don't have to like it, but I'm not changing it for you. Some people don't like jazz music. That's okay. You don't have to like it, but it's not going to change for you. Hello, Fekika. You're struggling with auxiliary verbs. What do I advise you? I would advise that you should get as many auxiliary verbs worksheets as you can. Make many copies of them and do them as many times as you can. Grammar exercises are best learned through repetition for you, okay? If you're a native speaker, we learn through our environment. People correct us when we say things incorrectly. Well, they used to. They don't anymore. But for you, the best way to learn them is through repetition, repetition, repetition. Okay? Hello, Erica. Jagmeet, what's your question? Could I explain the word trigger in details? Well, Alex, the word trigger originally means on a gun or on a crossbow, the thing that you pull is called the trigger, right? So on a handgun, the thing that you pull, that's called the trigger. And to trigger the gun means that you're pulling that back and it will set in motion the explosive nature of that gun or the levers that send the arrow forward. Okay? But now that word is used figuratively often you'll hear it all the time online. People will say, he's so triggered. It's a stupid word. I hate the way that word is used anymore. And that means that someone said something that upset you. And then when you get upset, they say, oh, he's so triggered. It's such an ignorant, stupid thing to say. If you say something ignorant, someone's going to get mad about it. That's the normal reaction. It's completely normal to get upset when people are ignorant. So, there's nothing wrong with them getting upset. The problem is that you think that they're not supposed to get upset. So you say, you're so triggered. No. Grow up. It's a childish thing to say. Okay, let's go back over here very quickly. Hello, I'm. Hello, Rosa. Hello, Disaster. That's an interesting name to choose. Hello, Andre. And thank you for putting up my YouTube channel, Daniel. Hello, Victor. Hello, Kindness. Thank you very much, Athena. Hello, Barbara from Germany. Guten Tag. Although your flag is from Italy. Hello, Jazzy. I like your name. It triggered my mind. Well, that probably means that it upset you in your mind, but it also could mean it maybe if you hear an idea and when you hear that idea in your mind, suddenly it goes boom, like, oh, I get it now. I understand. That means to trigger something like maybe you hear a song that you haven't heard in a long time. And when you hear that song, it triggers a memory in your mind from, maybe when you were at home listening to that song many years ago. So in that case, it means it set something off, right? It sets something off like a trigger does. A trigger sets off the gun or sets off the arrow. So if something is triggered in your mind, it could mean it just brought that memory back to you. Okay? Jagmeet says, I can't means I cannot. That's right. It's means it is. Then why do we say let's go? We should say let's go means let us go. Let's go means let us go. And yeah, I think Jagmeet, you just didn't understand that the S in let's is not is, it's us. Okay? Erica wants to know, you've started the TOEIC test online, 200 questions, 2 hours of commitment, very challenging. I've answered 86 so far. What do you think about the value? I think it's good. Taking a test like the TOEIC can help you to see where your weak points are, where your strengths are, and what you need to improve upon. So I think it has that value. I don't always put so much value on the score that you actually get. I just think it's good to know where you need to improve in general. Okay? And trigger points in our body, that is more about pain. Like maybe... yeah, that's a bit of a complicated answer. Yeah, sensitive points, the trigger points in your body. Those are the points when you touch somebody there, then they feel pain, like it triggers the pain. Okay? All right, let me go back to my hello talk and I'll get somebody else on the stage with me. Hello, Yaroslav. What's the difference between so and that's? That's why. There is no difference between so and that's why. If I say, I think that this is this and this is this, so blah, 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 blah. I think that this is this and this is this, that's why, blah, 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 blah. In this case, those things mean exactly the same thing. Those are just connecting words to help you transition from one idea to another idea, Yaroslav. Okay? Trigger is something that initiates something else. Originally, the word trigger is about a gun or a crossbow, okay? Or a lever for some... When you pull that lever, it initiates some sort of action, okay? Originally, it was in weapons, but it also could be in a figurative sense now, okay? You're welcome, David. Hello, Taleb from Yemen. How can you expand your vocabulary to advanced C2 level because you need to understand complex issues and debates in English? Borzu, I would say you need to create a plan for improving your vocabulary, a system. Well, I should say maybe you need a plan that involves multiple systems, right? So one way would be to read. If you're trying to be at that level, then you need to be reading advanced English, right? Read articles that are at that level or higher. Push yourself by reading, okay? Two, you need to probably learn more about etymology, which will help you to build upon the vocabulary that you already have. Three, I think that at an advanced level, there are many words that you can learn within a topic, right? So if you're learning words that are in physics, for example, physics words, do a search online for vocabulary words in the field of physics and write them down. Those will be advanced words, right? But there are also a bunch of good books that are good for just advanced vocabulary. For if you get books about the GRE for vocabulary or the SAT for vocabulary or the ACT for vocabulary, those usually have advanced college level vocabulary words to study. Okay? Taleb, do the best you can. I know that sometimes I speak fast and I'm speaking about difficult things, but we have all levels of learners here. Some are advanced, some are beginners. Okay? It's good for you to just try to understand what you can. All right? All right. Okay, one more question over here. What's the difference between commitment and engagement? To commit to something is to make a commitment. So if you say, I will do this thing, you have made a commitment to that thing. Engagement can have a few different meanings. In social media, engagement means that the things that you post create reactions from people. So if you post something and nobody cares about it, then, so for example, if you post something that says, I love cats, then many people will say, I love cats too, right? But if you say, I hate cats, I wish there were no more cats on this earth, you will probably get a whole lot of people who will actually argue with you about it. And that is a post that creates more engagement. Unfortunately, the way the human brain works, we're triggered by things that we don't agree with. So we're more likely to engage with a post if it's a negative thing than a positive thing. It's sad, but true. That's why the internet and social media are such bad, negative places to be, because they're full of negative engagement. But engagement in the sense of a relationship, if you're talking about those words in the sense of a relationship, to make a commitment to someone is just to say, I'm going to date you and only you, and you're going to date me and only me. That's a commitment. You have committed yourselves to each other. Engagement, when you're engaged, that means you're going to get married. Somebody said, will you marry me? And they said yes. Now you are engaged. And you're not married yet, but you plan to be, and you have both agreed that you're planning to get married in the future. Okay, Erica? Alex says, why are American people so confident when they speak? When I watch American people speak, I'm amazed how they describe things in their life without pausing, like the flow of their words. Well, not all American people can do that, man. Some can. because language is a performance, and there are some people who are better at performing than others. Just like there are some musicians who are better than other musicians. It's a matter of practice and talent combined. Okay? So, but believe me, there are many people in America who don't speak that well. You know, there are people who are shy. There are people who are not very careful with their language. There are people who have allowed their language to degrade to the point where it's not particularly effective anymore or at a decent enough standard anymore. Hello, Compass Plus. Okay, finally, last questions over here. Oh, Chicago, thank you very much. I should have said this earlier. To everybody who sent me a message about Shadow dying, last week, our family dog, Shadow, passed away. He was 14 years old, and the last couple months of his life were a little bit rough, and he had a lot of health problems. But he passed away last week, and I'm doing the best I can. You know, it's sad. It's always really heartbreaking when you lose a pet, especially when you're there when they die. I mean, it's better to be there than not be there. But a house is never so empty when you lose your pet. You know, especially a dog. You know, when you come home, dogs are always there to welcome you home. So when they pass away and you open the door and they're not there anymore, it's hard. It's hard. How long have I done this work teaching English online? A couple of years. Well, no. A couple of years on Hello Talk. Probably about 6 years. 5 years. I think maybe 5 years in total online. I've been a teacher for about 30 years in total. All right, let's talk to somebody else on my stage. Okay, let's see. I'm going to talk to Bradley first. He was first in line. Hello, Bradley.
Hey, hello, teacher. So nice to meet
How are
you.
you? Nice to meet you too.
Oh, I'm pretty good. And you?
I'm all right. I'm okay. I see you. You are. Your flag says Canada. Where are you living now?
Actually, I'm staying in China. I was Chinese, but I immigrated to Canada for a few years.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
All right. And now you're living where in China? Which city?
uh, have you ever heard of Shanxi province?
Yeah. What city in
Sure.
Shanxi?
The capital city, Taiyuan.
Oh, Taiyuan. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And how can I help you today, Bradley? Do you have any questions for me or anything I can help you with?
Yeah, I do have a question. Yeah, maybe you not know. I'm telling you, my job in Vancouver, Canada, is a training teacher.
A training teacher.
Yeah, a fine arts training teacher.
Fine arts.
Fine arts. Yeah.
Okay.
My title is college instructor.
Okay.
But actually, it's similar as secondary school.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. My question is, I'm a teacher. I'm a nice teacher when I was in China. But when I moved to Canada, the situation changed. Many students, not many, a part of students of mine looks a bit rude, impolite. When I say hello to them, or I teach them person on person, one on one. Some students, some people never give me any response.
They don't give you any
When I ask,
response.
yeah, they don't reply me. Uh, my question is, this situation common in United States? I mean the secondary school or not?
How old are these students?
Close to adult. 17
17,
to
18. Okay.
18. Yep.
All right. Well, that age is that's a difficult age. There are some people, some kids at that age that are just little brats.
Sorry, what does brat mean?
A brat means a spoiled child or a child who is
Oh,
they're trying to learn how to be an adult, and when you're trying to learn how to be an adult at that age, part of what many kids do is they act rudely to other people because they think they're asserting their own dominance that way. And between the ages of 13, 14, and 17, 18, maybe 19, that's a time period where you are becoming an adult. You're growing up and you're maturing and becoming an adult. And a lot of kids at that age, they assert themselves by being rude. So put it this way. There's a lot of truth in this one statement. There is more power in the word no than there is in the word yes. If you always say yes, yes, yes to everyone, you're giving away your power all the time. You have to learn how to say no sometimes. And kids, they don't think about this actively. They're not like consciously trying to do it that way, but they do recognize that if they say no or they act in a negative manner in some way, that's like they're asserting themselves. Like they're walking in the room like, no, you're not in control. I'm in control, you know? But here's my question. You said when you're teaching them one-on-one. So when you're teaching them one-on-one, they're paying you for that? Or is that just the school pays you? Or how does that work?
yeah. The school pays me.
The school pays you. Okay. Okay. So
yeah.
I would try to keep, I would confront them about it. I would tell them, you know, hey, look, I'm here to teach. I'm here to help you. If you want my help, great. If you don't want my help, then you're wasting your time and you're wasting my time. And I'm not going to have my time be wasted. Time is the most precious thing on this earth. So here's what we're going to do. I will try to teach you once. I will try to teach you twice. I will try to teach you 3 times. But if you continue to be this way, then you're going to come here and I'm going to do my business and you're going to do your business and I'm not going to teach you anything, and that will be your loss. You know, a long time ago when I was teaching drum lessons, every once in a while I had a student who would come to the lesson and week after week after week after week, they never practiced. So I would tell them, here's what you have to do, go home and practice it. They came back the next week and clearly they had not practiced anything at all. And I would let them do that 3 times. But after the 3rd time, I would go to the mom and dad and I would tell them, I just want you to make sure you understand that your kid is wasting your money. Because for 3 weeks, they have had this one assignment and they haven't practiced it at all. So, and I would tell them they can come back one more time. And if they come back and they practice, they can stay with me. If not, then I'm going to kick them out because I have other students who want to learn from me. I don't want my time to be wasted. And that's a valuable lesson. That's a valuable lesson. And unfortunately, some kids at that age, they need to learn the hard way. There are some lessons in life that you can't learn the easy way. You have to learn them the hard way.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
you can't let people walk all over you all the time as a teacher. You can't let them do that. And unfortunately, that is a problem at that age. That's why I don't usually like to teach kids at that age too much. You know, the kid has to prove themselves to me that they're valuable, that they want to learn. If they're not there to learn, then I don't want to teach them. And it's that simple. You know, now I understand this is different for you because the college is paying you and, you know, you have to do it. But do you get to give them grades? Do you give them grades? Or how does that work?
What
Do you grade them?
I'm a fine art teacher.
Right? Oh, shoot. We lost him. Probably the time limit. See? Now, this is why you guys have to go to my YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can... there's no time limit. So you can go to my YouTube channel and there will be no time limit. So Bradley, I'm so sorry that you got kicked off before I could help you completely. But if you have a teacher and they're trying to teach you and they're putting all of their effort into it, you need to respect that. It's that simple. Now, the most difficult part about being a teacher is teaching someone who doesn't want to learn. That's not fun for me, and it's not fun for them. And unfortunately, not everyone understands the value of learning at the same time. Even I didn't. I didn't learn the value of learning until after I got out of school. You know, so you're always going to have difficult students to deal with, and there are various ways to deal with them, but I usually deal with them directly, and I will tell them straight to their face, this isn't working. I'm here to teach. You're supposed to be here to learn. If you're not, then go away. It's that simple. Okay? Fresher, I have no idea what you're talking about, man. Okay, let's see. Hello, Kadir. Good to see you again. Thank you, Jazzy. Why am I so passionate about helping people? Well, Sophie, again, I'm not... I am passionate about teaching, and I am passionate about helping people, sure. But this is something that I'm trying to build to be a business. So that's why I keep telling you, you have to go follow my YouTube channel. You have to support me. You have to help me. I'm here helping you. So I'm asking you, what are you doing to help me? You don't have to pay me if you can't afford it. I understand. Lots of people can't afford to pay me. Okay, so how else could you help me? Are you sharing my streams? Are you telling people about me? Make a post. Create a post. If you really like my teaching, then make a post on Bilibili. Make a post on WeChat. Make a post on Douyin or Little Red Book. Make a post on whatever social media you're on. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Make a post and tell people about me. If you think I'm that good, then help me. Okay? Good things don't just exist without help and support. Okay? So I keep telling people that I love doing this and I want to keep doing it. But if I don't get enough support, then I'm not going to be able to continue. Because I do have to make money. I do have to make this financially successful or I cannot continue. So if you want me to be here, then you have to make sure you're doing your part to help me too. Okay? My goodness, DK is just it's like OMG. Oh my God. Okay? My goodness is the same thing as OMG. It's just a very polite way to say, oh my God. Okay, some people they really do believe that you shouldn't take the Lord's name in vain, right? So you shouldn't even say, "Oh my God." So they'll say, "My goodness" instead. Okay, so it's usually something that's said out of surprise. Okay. Hello, Roxana. Teacher has the authority, but it's different there. No, the teacher always has the authority no matter where you are. But, you have to assert that authority from the beginning. You have to make sure the kids know that you're serious about what you do. And if they're not going to be, then you're not going to help them. You have to be hard every once in a while. You can't always be the nice guy. You just can't. I've learned that the hard way. All right? I used to try to always be the nice guy. Can't do it. You have to be a little bit hard sometimes. They have to recognize that learning takes effort and teaching takes effort and time will not be wasted. Okay? Maybe some of them have no interest in art. That's possible, but then the first thing is your job is to teach them why art could be valuable to them. Right? Part of your job as a teacher is to impart upon your students, to teach your students why these things are valuable. It's one of the biggest mistakes teachers make. One of the biggest mistakes teachers make is assuming that all the kids there know why they're supposed to learn this thing. You have to show them how it's valuable. If you cannot do that, then you already are not a good teacher. That's my opinion. So when I was in high school, I had lots of teachers. I remember I had this teacher, for my math class, and I was not good in math. But half the reason I was not good in math was because there was never, ever any explanation about why these things are important or how it can be practically used in my life. They just tell you you need it to go to college. That's not enough. Every bit of everything that you learn needs to be shown in a practical manner. If you're not making learning practical, then it is a waste of your time. That's my opinion. Okay? Practicality is always important in every stage of learning. I had a Star-Spangled Banner bag? I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't have any bag that's Star-Spangled Banner anything. I'm not a nationalist kind of a guy. You must be thinking of someone else. Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about because I'm not that kind of a guy. I'm not, the America's #1 person. Is it helpful to share my room info and Hello Talk moments? It's helpful, Sophie, but Sophie, I have almost 65,000 followers in Hello Talk. So I already have lots of followers here. I need followers in other places. I need people to talk about me on other social media platforms. Okay? Am I tired? No, not really. Again, Fresher, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't remember you, unfortunately, and I don't remember anything about the Star-Spangled Banner or talking about it or showing it or anything of the case. Does HelloTalk pay me? No, they don't pay me anything. Why do you think that? No, I don't make any money from HelloTalk at all. None. No, absolutely not. Hello, Johnny. Good to see you again. Where did you get the idea that I'm being paid? I'm not being paid. No, I'm not. I should be, but I'm not. Okay, now let me bring somebody else up on the stage to talk to me. What is the percentage of hardworking students for Common Sense in the U.S.? I have no idea, Lydia, but learning is always difficult. Teaching is always difficult because not every student is ready to learn at the same time. Students are like flowers, and every kind of flower blooms at a different time. Okay, so some flowers bloom in March, some flowers bloom in April, some flowers bloom in August or September. So what that means is there are many students who will be in your class who are just not ready to learn, and you have to make sure that they understand that there are other students there who are ready to learn, and you have to focus on teaching for everyone, but not everybody's ready to learn. Okay, so that's their responsibility to understand that if you're not ready to learn, okay, but everybody else is. So don't get in the way of everybody else's learning. Okay, don't get in the way of everyone else's learning. You think it's lower than in China? No, I wouldn't agree with that. Lydia, learning in China is all about memorizing the answers. Very few people in China are trying to actually understand anything they're learning. They're just memorizing the answers so they can pass the tests because it's all about pressure, pressure, pressure. Get a good grade so you can go to a good school so you can get a good job. It's so much pressure that they've actually made it not a very good place for learning. Actual learning. Memorizing is not learning. Memorizing is not learning. Any fool can memorize answers. Real understanding takes actual thought. Okay, I think that's a quote, something like that from Albert Einstein. Okay, so people in China, they take school more seriously, but only because they're forced to by pressure. The pressure on them to get good grades is so intense. But that doesn't mean they're better students. No, I don't agree with that. Lydia, we live on the same planet. Every student from every place in this world has the same potential to be great or to be poor at what they do. There is one species on this planet of humans. One. So that means that it has nothing to do with where you are born. It has to do with whether you actually are ready to learn and whether you have the ability to learn and whether you have the resources to learn. Okay? So, again, I understand that, put it this way, Lydia, when I taught English in Taiwan, when you ask a question to a group of Chinese kids in a class, here's what happens. They look around the room like this, and maybe somebody will want to raise their hand, but they're afraid because they don't want to be the first one. They don't want to be the first one to put their hand up and say, oh, I know. But in an American class, not everybody does it, but a whole lot of them will immediately put their hand up when they know the answer because they're not afraid to say what they think. That is a different thing. That is a different thing, okay? And the kids may not have the right answer, but they're at least willing to stick their hand up and try. And that is a better position for learning than this. If you're afraid to answer, then you're never going to learn. And they're afraid to answer because they're afraid to be wrong. They're afraid to be wrong. Right? They're afraid to make a mistake. But if you don't ever make mistakes, then you're not learning as well as you could, because mistakes are one of the best ways that you can learn. So that's what I try to teach to Chinese students, is that raise your hand, say what you think, and if it's not right, you will learn the right answer. But it doesn't mean that you're wrong when you put your hand up. You should put your hand up at all times. Okay? Athena says, but we teach dialects. What do you mean by that, Athena? We don't teach critical thinking. We teach dialects. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I know what you mean by the critical thinking part. And I tend to agree with that. Not all Chinese students, of course. There are some who figure it out and they understand that they have to learn how to think critically. But, you know, the Chinese way of teaching is just different because they're just trying to get you to pass the test. So they're not trying to get you to think outside of the box or understand. They're just trying to get you to memorize the answers. Memorizing is like a way of life over there. I'm not saying that to be rude. It's a fact, and you all know it, right? Again, I'm not trying to be disparaging. I'm not trying to be disparaging. That's just a difference in the system of education. Okay? How do I know? Because I taught English in Taiwan for 4 years. That's how I know. From 2016 to 2020. Right before COVID. Some of what I said is not the truth. Jack, tell me what. You're allowed to disagree with me. See, I appreciate that. That's a guy who's not afraid to say what he thinks. Fine. So tell me, how am I wrong? I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to listen. And again, I'm not saying that's true for all students. I have lots of students who are not like that. Okay? But in general, that is definitely the way things work. In general. Jack, no. If you learn about learning, Jack, if you do studying about how learning works, everything out there, all the data will tell you that memorizing is the worst way to learn anything. It's the worst way to learn. It's the least effective way to learn. But it's the way that they use in China all the time. Memorize, 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 memorize. But Jack, every single live stream that I do, there's somebody who comes to my live stream, usually they're Chinese, and they say, how can I memorize words better? I always forget them. And it never occurs to them. They never think about, well, maybe memorizing doesn't work very well. That's why I always forget them. But that's the truth. Memorizing does not work because of one simple thing. Memorizing is boring. Your brain doesn't like boring. Your brain likes creative, interesting things. If you're learning in a way that is not creative or not interesting, then it's very easy to forget. Okay? That's it. I only approve of memorizing as a method of learning if it's step one in a long process of learning. So if you're using memorizing as step one and then you have a step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, okay, then that's okay. But that's not what you do. Almost everybody I know about memorizing They just want to memorize because they think that memorizing is the most efficient way to learn the answers. But that's not correct. And there is no data to support that. There is no study that will support that idea. So the majority of people, at least 90% of the people who are trying to learn through memorization, they're learning only through memorization. They're just doing that and they're trying to hope that they remember. But that's what memorizing is. Memorizing is this. Look at me. You're telling your brain, please don't forget these words, brain. I know I didn't really do any real work. I didn't actually think about them at all. I just tried to write them down 10 times, and I hope that that's enough that I'll remember. That's what you do. Memorizing is hoping that you remember, and then you're surprised when you don't. If you want to remember something, find a way to use creativity in your learning and you will remember it. It's that easy, that simple. But creativity takes time. Creativity is a little bit more difficult. It takes a little bit more effort. So people make the mistake of thinking memorizing is a good way to learn because it's the fastest way to try to attempt learning, but it's the least efficient way. It's the least efficient way. Okay? Memorizing is important in arts, subjects like science. I completely disagree. I'm sorry, but no, it's not. Lydia, everything that you think that you can learn through memorizing, I'm absolutely certain that there is a better way to do it other than memorizing that uses creativity. Okay? That's the fact. That's just a fact. Memorizing is never a good way to learn. Here's what I tell people on my stream all the time. Okay? Let me make it very clear for everyone. Memorizing is the worst way to learn. Okay? Memorizing is the worst way to learn. There is no data to support that memorizing is effective in learning. It's not. Okay, somebody wanted to raise their hand. I'm sorry, I got carried away. Let me talk to Kadir. I got carried away answering questions, which happens a lot. Kadir, come on my stage. Hello, Kadir, how are you?
Hello, Teacher Mark. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm just arguing with people about memorizing.
Yes, it's a good topic. Some people really have issue with memorizing, especially in English vocabulary.
Yeah, right. But again, vocabulary is actually not difficult to learn at all if you have a better way of learning it. And I have 4 ways that I tell people to learn vocabulary. One is through reading books. When you read books, you're learning vocabulary through a story. And because those words are connected to the story, you will remember them. Okay, now it's a little more complicated than that. I have a system that I use, but that's the general idea is you can learn a lot of vocabulary by reading. Okay, 2 is by using a thesaurus. A thesaurus is a dictionary of synonyms. So if you know one word, look up that word in the thesaurus and find all the related words to it. Explore the vocabulary through synonyms. Okay, that's a second way to do it. That's learning words through related families of words. Okay, a third way to do it is by topic. So if you're learning words about food, Learn all the words about vegetables, learn all the words about fruits, learn all the words about meats and fish, learn all the words about cooking and about, like baking and roasting and frying and, raw. All those words are related words. Learn how to order food in a restaurant, all the words that you need for ordering food. That's by topic, right? So choose a topic and then find all the words in that specific topic that you can learn. And then the final way,
Yes, sir.
and my favorite way, is learning English words through etymology, which that
Yes,
means
sir.
the history of where the words
I
come
was
from.
actually I was learning vocabulary as the same that many people are trying to learn vocabulary nowadays. But after some while, I understand, as you said, the best way to learn something or to memorize something is to use them in your daily routine or make them your daily routine. When you use them in your speaking, you will be more able to memorize them. But when you try to just study a word like running or walking, or some words, or especially some complicated words, it's obviously that you will not be able to use those vocabularies in the future.
Well, that is always a tricky thing. When you learn difficult vocabulary words, trying to find a way to use them in your normal life can be difficult. But there's another way to look at it. When you're learning vocabulary words, let me give you a perfect example of how creativity makes learning better. Okay? If you have a simple sentence, like you want to use your new word, and the word is, let me find a word here in my dictionary. Okay, so we're going to use the word deliberately. Deliberately, and that means to do something with intention. You intended to do something, you did it deliberately. Okay, so I could write a simple sentence that says, he deliberately pushed me. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's a simple sentence that works, right? But it's not a good sentence, and the reason why is because it's too normal, and you won't remember it because it's too normal.
Yes.
But here's the secret about your brain, okay? If you're walking down the street and you see another person walking down the street and they're dressed in normal clothes, you're not going to remember that guy. You're not going to remember that guy. You're going to walk by him and you're going to forget that person for the rest of your life. But if you are walking down the street and you see a person and they have a big pink elephant hat with purple feathers in it, are you going to remember that guy? Yeah, because he's got some big weird pink elephant hat on, right? Your brain remembers weird. Your brain remembers funny. Your brain remembers different. So you have to use that when you're writing your sentences or when you're trying to use your new vocabulary words. So don't say he pushed me deliberately. Say he pushed me deliberately into the giant pile of chocolate ice cream.
Yeah.
Now you have this weird image in your head of somebody pushing you into a big pile of chocolate ice cream. That's funny. That's weird. That's different. Your brain will remember that.
Yes, sir. As I said, I always watching your voice room. You said that one of the best another way for memorizing or talking in English is to thinking about yourself, and it is the best way. And I have already try it, and it was the best way for learning English, and it's really helped me.
Good. I'm
And
glad.
yes, but here in our country, in schools and universities, the educational and learning system is had set like there are some children who have who have been learning more than 10 or more than 10 subjects just in 1 year, and it is so tough for a child to learn or memorize this number of books, because it is very tough for a child brain. And it is really useless curriculum, I think, because I'm a graduate of school, and all the things that we have taught or we have learned in school is useless for us now, because we don't even remember the history or the geography or the chemistry, because they were just they was teaching just from a book, not was practical or something
Right.
they could show us, like chemistry is the subject that need to be learned in a practical way, but they just teach us from a book.
Right. Well, so let me make something clear to everyone here. I am a teacher and I love teaching, but I don't care about school at all. School has nothing to do with education and learning. School is a system that is designed to try to teach the largest number of people in the most effective way. But unfortunately, in almost every country in the world, schools have actually become places that they're not very effective at teaching. And the reason why is because every student is different. Every student has a different way of learning and a different way of looking at learning. And if you try to teach everyone with the same way, a whole lot of people are not going to learn well. And they're not stupid. There's nothing wrong with them. The problem is that nobody had the time and the patience to actually present the material to that kid in a different way that they can learn and they can understand. So let me make something very clear. I love learning, I love education, but education has nothing to do with school. Okay? Education is something you need to understand. Education is something that you start when you are a baby and you end when you die. And that's your personal responsibility. It has nothing to do with where you went to school. That's why there are some people who go to school and they are able to learn well. That means that system of learning worked well for them, and two, that they were ready to learn. But not everybody is ready to learn at the same time, and not everybody is able to learn using the same system. So when I was in school, I didn't do very well in a lot of classes. Does that mean I'm stupid? No. Albert Einstein didn't do very well in some of his math classes, and we all think he's a genius. So he always said, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, of course you're going to think he's stupid. Fish can't climb trees, right?
Yes.
So, go ahead.
It is essential to teach our children that to try to learn things by many other ways, not just by memorizing. Especially in schools, they have issues with their subjects or their lessons, and they are responsible for their activities in their schools, and we should teach them the right way of to how to get good in their subjects and their schools. And I think that the most schools are the most schools systems learning system is not really good, especially for
Finland,
in poor countries.
Let me just make an example of Finland. Finland is a country who actually, a few years ago, they had some of the worst scores on tests in the world from their student proficiency tests, but they changed their entire system of learning completely, and they refocused it on what we now know to be the absolute best way to learn, which is through play. Right? Learning through play is actually the best way to teach anyone anything. You are actually learning through doing something. Okay. Now, what does that mean, learning through play? It means that you let the kids interact with things on their own, and then you ask them about it and you teach them about what they were doing. So, for example, I'm just making up a simple example. If you have a kid and he goes outside and he climbs a tree and he goes up into the tree and then he falls out of the tree, and he comes back into the classroom and you ask him, well, what did you do? And they'll say, oh, well, I climbed a tree. And you could say, well, what kind of tree was it? Was it a maple tree? Was it a birch tree? Was it a beech tree? Was it an oak tree? And, what do you know about trees? Have you ever wondered, why are the leaves green? What's that stuff inside them that makes them green? And how does a tree work? And then you fell. You said you fell out of the tree. Why did you fall? Oh, well, that's physics. That's gravity,
Yes.
So that's taking a student's... one moment. Sorry about that. That's taking play and that's making it an educational experience for them. Okay. And now they have some of the best test scores in the world in their schools because they changed the entire way of learning. They stopped trying to do things by tradition. Tradition is the death of learning because learning must always be modern. Learning must always stay at the front of where we are. You can't just say, well, my grandfather did it that way, so I should do it that way. No. Why? There were a lot of things that were not even around when your grandfather was around. Why would you think that the way he learned was the best way? He might have been very smart. He might have been a genius, but that doesn't mean the method that they were using was the best method. Learning has to stay creative. Learning and creativity has to be changing always. It has to be at the front of the edge of learning, not at the back of learning, right? So, like I said, that's why I'm trying to tell you that I love teaching and I love learning and I love education, but I don't see those things as being related to school because school is a formal system of learning that has too many flaws in it. It's designed to try to teach the most number of people, but that means it's actually a very ineffective way of learning in so many ways. And it's usually not based on practicality at all. Practicality should be a key part of learning. Anything that you're learning, they should be able to teach you how it is practically useful. And if they can't, then there's no point in learning it, in my opinion. Okay? So yeah, schools all over the world are not the best places for learning. Not usually. Every school has a few good teachers, but they also have a few bad teachers, right? And they also have a lot of average teachers. And they create systems of learning because they must. They must. They're designed, they have to have tests and they have to prove that they showed you something. But the method of teaching through testing is, there are too many flaws in it. There are way too many flaws in it. And it leaves too many children behind, or students behind, not just children. Okay, adults too. So, yeah. So, again, you can disagree with me about things all you want. I'm not here to prove to you whatever. I'm here to tell you that this is what I believe. Give you an example of the flaws? Lynn, that's very simple. If you have a classroom of 15 kids, they don't all learn the same way, but you have one teacher who teaches all the kids the same exact way. There's a huge flaw there. That means that there are at least 4 or 5 kids in that classroom who are not learning that material very well because it's not being presented to them in the way that they can learn best. And Lynn, I don't have all the answers. I'm not here to tell you that I have every answer for everything, but I am here to tell you that there are major flaws in learning. I don't have to have the answers in order to show that there's a flaw. Do you understand? You know, that's not the way it works. You are able to say this doesn't work well. That doesn't mean that you know the answer yet. But I will tell you one simple thing. Here's the best thing I can tell you about that. Education should be something that is taught by the time you're 8 or 9 years old. They should be telling you that education is not about school. Education is a lifelong process, and it's your responsibility to educate yourself. And that education is not to get a better job. No, education is not something that is there for you to make more money. Education is something that is there to make you a better human being. That is the purpose of education. Education is there to make you a better human being. There's another huge flaw in education. Somehow, we've now created education to be something that you only do it to make more money. That's sick. That is a sickness. We have perverted education and turned it into some kind of a thing that's all about making more money. No. Education is supposed to be something that teaches you about the world you live in so that you can learn how to be a better person in that world. And that's why every person you know who's a bad person, they don't understand this one thing. They don't understand this one thing, that education is designed to make you a better human being. That's the purpose of education. People who don't have education don't understand the world they live in. If you don't understand the world you live in, if you have too many people like that, you create a dangerous world. And yes, don't let school distract you from education. That's exactly right. School can be a place where you can learn. It can, but it's not always. Okay? It can, but it's not always. And Miguel says school was created for rich people. I don't know if I would go that far, but it was created as a system that was designed to try to teach people in a rigorous and formalized manner. But education is fluid. Therefore, it's really difficult to make it formalized in any really effective way. Okay? What is the education system in the U.S.? Well, we have kindergarten and elementary school and junior high school and high school and higher education and college. And it's the same system that's taught around the world, which is that you have one teacher who's trying to teach a subject to a group of children or group of students, and they teach it in one way, which is not effective, and then they give tests to try to prove whether you know the information or not. And yeah, I'm sorry, but if you give a test to any student, but you haven't taken the time to actually present that information to those students in the way that they need, then that test doesn't show anything. That test only shows that they haven't learned it the way you wanted them to. Doesn't mean that that they couldn't. It means that they didn't learn it the way you showed them. How many of you have one teacher that you can remember that you studied in their class and you could not learn the way that they taught? They taught you, but you just couldn't learn it the way they taught. How many of you? I'm pretty sure all of you. All of you can think of one teacher that you learned from who you couldn't learn the way they were teaching it. Does that mean that you can't learn that material? Does that mean you can't learn it? No, it means you couldn't learn it the way they did it. That's the flaw of education. Education can't be formalized to a group of people the way we've been doing. It has to be individualized. If it's not individualized, it's not actually education. Now, again, I realize that's a tremendous task, but when we have people spending billions of dollars on trying to go to Mars, it's sad to think that we can't. We can. We just won't. Okay? There are other reasons that are kind of political as to why we don't actually improve education too. But we won't go into those because those are controversial. All right. Somebody disagreed with me. Kadir, are you still there? Kadir, hello, hello, hello? I can't hear you now, Kadir. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry, Kadir. I don't know what I can't hear. Can you guys hear Kadir?
Do you hear me,
There.
sir?
Now I can hear you. Now I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's important also for the teacher to accomplish some features or quality that's required for a teacher in order to absorb the students and to get their attentions to the subject or to the lessons. As I continue watching your voice room, sir, it really helped me, your way of explanations, things, and your way of teaching. And it's because of the qualities that you have, that you accomplish, and that's why it's so important for a teacher to have some qualities and features that is
agree.
needed for a teacher.
Yeah, being a teacher is not a job for everyone. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So, if you have a kid, do you want your teacher to go to the teacher do you want your student to learn from a teacher who's just doing that job for the money, or do you want them to learn from the teacher who's doing it because they're passionate about it? Of course you want to learn from the guy who's passionate about it. If you have to go to the doctor, do you want to go to the doctor who just does it for the money, or do you want to go to the doctor who does it because they love to help people who are sick?
Yes.
Of course you want to go to the person who's passionate about of helping sick people. But this is what is forgotten when we focus on how can I make more money? I'm sorry, but I don't. That's a sad world we've created. It's a sad world
a common
we've created.
issue.
Yeah, it is a common issue. Everybody's focused on making money, and that means that unfortunately we're not creating the best teachers, we're not creating the best doctors, we're not creating the best lawyers or engineers. We're creating people who are doing it for the money. And those will never be the best. If you're not passionate about what you do, then you're never going to be the best.
Yes, sir. People nowadays just looking for their benefits in every part of their whatever, if it is their responsibility or their jobs. They're just looking for their benefits or their money. They doesn't care about helping people and to cure someone's discomfortness or their sickness, especially as you said about doctors. They just write to you prescriptions full of medicines and don't think about that you have the money to buy this amount of medicines or not.
Right. Yeah. And again, economics has a lot to do with the problems of what we're talking about. Economics are probably the prime reason why education is flawed. Because when you create an economic system that makes people desperate for money, then of course they focus on that. If people are not desperate for money, then they have the ability to think outside of money. But when you create a system that's where everybody's desperate for money, then yeah, people forget about actually being good at something. People forget about actually caring about what you do. And
Yes.
that's not a good world. That's not a good world.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Kadir,
Yes, sir.
thank you for coming on my stage. I'm going to try to see if I can talk to a couple more people here today, but it was wonderful to talk with you, and
Yes.
come back and see me again, okay?
Thanks for having me, Teacher Mark. I really appreciate your explanation.
Thank you for listening and following and supporting me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Take care, my
Thank you.
friend. Okay, so there was somebody who disagreed with me, and somebody said I was wrong. Who was it? Somebody, Sample Jason? Sample, are you still here? Or did you get tired of listening to me? Or maybe you ran out of time. I don't know. Yeah, anyway. Look, I know that my ideas are a bit crazy. I'm aware of that. They only seem crazy to you because of the world we live in, though. They're not actually crazy ideas. They're just crazy in the world that we exist in. But that world will never change unless somebody has the courage to be crazy. Do I know AJ Hoge? I know about him. I don't know him personally, but I've heard about him a lot. This is iced coffee. Ilya. You felt like he was making me angry. Who? Islam, who was making me angry? Don't mistake my passion for anger. Don't mistake my passion for anger. Passion is sometimes would you rather have a dog bite or bark? Sometimes dogs bark. It's better than biting, right? Let's see. Oh, a sample? You mean that Sample Jason? No, he's not making me angry. No. Or you mean Kadir? No, Kadir wasn't making me angry either. Nobody's making me angry. I just feel that they're not fully listening to what I'm saying sometimes. You know, yeah. So, and they don't have the patience to listen always. And that's okay. Not everybody does. So where did I get these ideas? I'll tell you where I got these ideas. When I was in school, I didn't learn well. I didn't learn well because I was one of those kids who did not understand the way they were giving it to me. That doesn't mean I couldn't understand it. It means I couldn't understand it in the way it was presented to me. So I did not learn well in school. After I got out of school, then I realized that I love to learn. I just couldn't learn the way that they were teaching me. And so I focused on how does learning really work? I started thinking about how I learn. And I started teaching when I was 18 years old, and I started teaching privately, one-on-one with different students. And when you teach one-on-one, I'll tell you, that's one thing that should happen. Here's one big difference that I would make in every classroom in the world is there should be a teacher who teaches the classroom, but every one of those students should also have one-on-one time with a teacher, whether it's that teacher or another teacher. Okay, so every single student should get the information presented in a group, and they should get the information presented one-on-one. If we did that, that would revolutionize learning, because that would ensure that no one falls through the cracks. Falling through the cracks means there are some students who are fine and they learn just well in that system, but there are some students who fall through those little cracks and they don't get to learn because the information was not presented in a way that they can learn. Okay? And, yeah. Again, you can disagree with me all you want about memorizing, but it doesn't change the fact that it just doesn't work well. And you think it works well only because that's the way that you see people doing it. That doesn't mean it works. And here's another way that I'll prove that it is not effective. It's not an effective system, because this is for my Chinese people here. This is for the Chinese followers that are watching me now. How many of you know somebody who passed the test about English but can't speak English well? Jack, how many of you, how many people do you know who passed the test but can't speak English well? A lot is the right answer. A lot. Why, Jack? Why? Because they memorized the answers, but they don't understand how to use it. Okay, now, I will say it's not only in China. Actually, in America, the same problem happens, especially in language learning classes. Okay? In language learning classes in America, I would say less than 30% of the kids who finish 3 or 4 years of language learning a second language, only about 30 or 40%, maybe less than that, actually can use the language. So if they study Spanish for 3 or 4 years, I would say 30% or less are actually able to use that language. The rest of them, they pass the test, but they can't use the language. That's a huge problem. Okay, if you took a class in music for 1 year, if you studied music for 1 year, and at the end of that year, you were not able to make music, everyone would say that was a bad class. Everyone would say that there's something wrong. Right? Language is just like music. And the reason why it's so flawed that way is because they focus too much on grammar. They focus too much on grammar. Grammar is not language. Grammar is talking about language. If you want to know what's the best book, if you want to learn a language, whatever language you want to learn, if you want to learn German, you want to learn French, you want to learn Italian, you want to learn English, whatever you want to learn, the best book that you can get to start is a travel English book, or a travel German book, or a travel French book, or a travel German book. Because those books, they don't focus on grammar. They focus on practical usage of the language. So the best way to get started in any language is to buy a book that is about traveling there. And they will teach you, how can I use the most important phrases? How can I introduce myself? How can I ask questions like, where's the bathroom? How can I ask questions like, how much does this cost? Valentina says, la gramática no es tan importante. Valentina, I will tell you this. Grammar is important at school. Grammar is important when you're taking a test, and grammar might be important when you're working, depending on what work you do. But if you're not doing those things, then no, it's not that important. Okay? So, for example, Valentina, in music, they have a form of grammar. We call it music theory. right? So when you learn music, you learn the C major scale and the F major scale and the G major scale, and you learn the minor scales and you learn the chords, right? An F7 chord and a G7 chord with a flat 9 and sharp 11, right? That's the grammar of music. But do you know who Elton John is? Elton John does not know a lot about music theory, but he's written hundreds of amazing songs. Eric Clapton doesn't know a lot about music theory, but he's written hundreds of amazing songs. Because they understand that music is not about talking about music. Music is about making music. Language is not about talking about language. Language is about using language. Okay? But we focus on grammar too much, Valentina. We focus on it too much. And grammar makes people afraid of language. Grammar is the number one reason why people are afraid to learn language. It's absolutely silly that you study a language and in the first year they crush you with all this grammar. No, it's silly. It's not important. It would be much better if you didn't teach them that much grammar at all, but you just taught them practical usage of the language. Okay? Yeah, Slash from Guns N' Roses. It's so common in music. One of my favorite drummers in the world is a guy named Dennis Chambers. That dude is absolutely amazing. An incredible drummer. He doesn't know anything about music theory. Doesn't know how to read music at all. Has never worked in any books at all. But he is one of the highest level musicians in this field. Okay, so what should you practice first? You should practice, like I said, Valentina, get a travel English book and start with that. That's the best book that you can get to start learning any language because they don't focus on grammar. They focus on practical usage. Okay, after you do, a year of studying in a travel book, then you can start working on the basics of grammar. But you still need to remember that language should be practical, most importantly, because language is about communicating. Okay, it's about expression. It's not about perfection. Okay, when we get out the red pen and we start marking off things because of the grammar, but we don't look at what they're saying, no, I'm sorry, but that's not right. How many people would learn languages if we didn't focus so much on grammar? Grammar is the number one reason people are afraid to learn a language, any language. For example, Latin. How many people speak Latin in the world anymore? How many people speak Latin? Not many. Do you know why? Why is Latin a dead language? Because it's a stupidly hard language to learn grammatically. That's why Latin is dead. Latin is dead because it did not understand that it's too complicated. Yeah. John Bonham, too. Yeah, John Bonham also. There are lots of drummers who are like that. John Bonham, one of the best drummers in the world, played in Led Zeppelin, didn't know how to read music, didn't know much about music theory. But he's one of the most admired drummers in the world. Neil Peart from Rush didn't know anything about that stuff. Music, or I should say, language should be taught more like music is taught. Language should be taught more like music, not the way it's taught now. Okay? The way it's taught now is just too focused on grammar. And here's the other reason why it's important, because language is power. When you have the ability to communicate with people, you have the ability to transmit your ideas to other people in other languages. And for thousands of years, we've known this. And that's the reason why language has always been something that has only been learned by the most advanced people. But that's because they've taught it in this manner. Okay? So, for example, Valentina, you wrote La gramática no es tan importante. I've only studied Spanish for 1 year, but I can read what you say and I know exactly what you mean. Okay? I inferred what you meant based on looking at the words. I know what that means. Okay? That doesn't come from a bunch of books. That comes from practical learning, practical understanding. That's it. So my Spanish is pretty terrible. But if I were to focus on it, I know how to now in a different way than the books usually do. Okay, I did study for 1 year online in a Spanish course, or 1 semester, 1 year. And even that I thought was just too focused on grammar and not focused enough on practical usage of the language. Okay? You don't understand. Well, lo siento. Gramática no es importante. Okay, wait, one moment. The beauty of technology. Where's that page? Come on. Give me... There we go. All right, let's see. Los libros de idiomas para viajar son la mejor manera de aprender un idioma. There we go. Teacher Mark dice que la gramática no es tan importante. Okay, close enough, right? I think you understood what I was trying to say. Studying online is harder than offline. In some ways, I think studying online is a wonderful thing because I think it's at least a closer... it's getting closer to the idea that language or that learning should be individualized to a personalized. It's getting closer to that. And yes, what time is it? It's almost 11 o'clock here. So yeah, Lydia, thank you for watching and stuff. Yeah. Hello, Jose. If someone speaks Chinglish to me, can I get it? Yeah, I can. Yeah. Lyman, let me say this. If I say, I want go store, do you understand me? If I say, go store, I want, do you understand me? If I say, store, I want go, do you understand me? This is what I'm saying. Language is about communication, not about perfection. So yeah, I understand people when they speak broken English all the time in any language. And yeah, I want them to continue to work on improving it. But I think it's a terrible mistake to tell them that the way they speak is so wrong that they feel like they should quit. That's what happens too often. That you think your Chinglish is so bad that you should just give up learning English altogether. But no, I think that if you have Chinglish, okay, fine. That's a good place to start. At least you're starting with some form of English. Okay? Chinglish really is just, I'll tell you what Chinglish is. Chinglish is Chinese people who are using English vocabulary but Chinese grammar. Okay? So if I say, 我要去商店, 我要去商店, okay, that means I want go store. And that's what some people will say. They'll just translate it into English and then keep the Chinese grammar. That's all. Okay? All right. I have time to talk to one more person. Your friend Pablo passed his job English interview yesterday. He said, thanks for my help. Okay, we'll tell him I'm glad it worked out for him. I'm glad. Valentina, de nada. De nada. Okay, let's see. Let me talk to Toti in Syria. Hello, Toti. Toti, you have to open up your microphone.
الميكروفون
Oh, there we
قل له
go.
رح انزل وأقول
Now I can hear you. How are you, Toti?
عم يحكي معي الجحش بس عملت
Toti, can you hear me?
لحظة
Toti, I'm here, and I speak a little bit of Arabic, but not enough to communicate with you. I can say Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Can you speak English, Toti? Toti, you see I'm going down and go up. Yes, okay, Toti, then speak to me. Speak to me.
نزل لي عمرو
She's saying,
كيف بدي
wait a minute.
كيف بدي speak to you Hi
Hello, Toti. Hello.
Hi how are you doing
I'm okay. How are you?
Yes I'm doing well
Good.
Are you a teacher
I am a
English
teacher.
teacher or another language do you learn
I teach English and music.
my sister would like to talk to you
Okay. And
Come on.
does your sister also
She
speak
has,
English?
yes, she has test for spouse visa in Lebanon on Saturday.
Okay. All right. And so
Come
what,
on.
does she have any questions she wants to ask me or what?
Her name is Ruba.
Ruba.
Come on.
Okay.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, Ruba. Nice to meet you. How are you?
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for asking.
And are you guys are you in Syria? Are you in Damascus or where are you?
I'm from Syria.
Okay. What city in
I live
Syria?
in Latakia. I live in Latakia.
Latakia. Okay. I don't know where that is, but I'll look it up later. Okay. And do you have any questions you want to ask me or something I can help you with?
Um, actually, I feel
Embarrassing.
embarrassed because
Confusing.
You're embarrassed because why?
I don't know what's the question. Maybe they ask me in British Council.
Okay. Well, whatever they ask you, just answer honestly. And Toti, all interviews, whether it's a job interview or a school interview or an immigration interview, those are always about confidence in your language. Confidence. So you have to think about language like it's a performance. Okay? Language is a performance. When you see somebody who speaks really, really well, they are a performer and they perform well. It's just like music, okay? No one can play music well if they're not confident, right? Okay?
Yes.
So when they ask you a question, just smile and answer in the best way you can. And of course, you're not going to know all of the questions that they ask you. You're not going to know what they ask you. But just answer them honestly and you'll be fine. Relax.
Okay. She has a level A1. It's just a level A1.
Okay.
She shouldn't be afraid like this.
Right. Yeah, that's a pretty good level. That's a pretty good level. But again, language is a performance. So it's not always just about your level. It's about your level of confidence. Okay? And when you're a musician, the first time you get on stage, you're scared. And the second time you get on stage, you're scared. But if you get on stage many, many times, then you won't be scared anymore.
All the questions in level A1.
Okay? So
Yes.
so do you know the poet Rumi? You know Rumi? Molana.
No.
Molana.
We're sorry.
In Persian, the word is Molana. He's a very famous Persian poet. And he has a quote that I love. He says, all of your anxiety comes from seeking harmony. Seek disharmony and you will find peace.
Teacher Mark, I want to ask you, do you have any idea about the questions they
No.
will ask you? Level A1?
I don't know. No, I'm not sure. I mean, I maybe,
more?
let me see if, well, let me tell you this. It's better if you don't know the questions, because if you prepare your answers ahead of time, they won't like that. They want to see spontaneous language. They want to see you use your language right there. Okay?
She likes to have some questions.
Well, okay. Let me see. Give me one moment.
She like to practice with you. Would you mind to ask her some questions? Because
okay.
she so confusing and embarrassing.
Okay, let me see if I can help you with that. One moment. Okay, so let's see some questions here.
Yes. I'm ready.
One moment.
I'm ready for.
All right. I found a website that looks like it has some ideas about these questions. So the Common European English Framework exam or reference for languages. So it's going to try to grade your language ability. So they're looking for a basic user level that demonstrates the ability to speak and listen in the chosen language. So,
I don't think they will ask or they will. Uh, she will have the 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Is it just some questions? Because it is level 1.
I think so.
Sorry, level A.
Right.
Of course, she has a test for spouse visa.
Okay.
She's going there to London with her husband.
Okay. So maybe they'll ask, have you ever been there before? You know, have you ever been to England before? Have you ever been to the United States before? And they might ask you, what do you plan to do while you're there? You know, they'll ask you, what are your reasons for going? You know, okay, so you're it's because of your spouse, right? So I'll tell you what I think you should do. They're going to ask, what is your spouse's occupation? Okay. Do you have any brothers and sisters? Will you come back
Friends.
home during your vacations or holidays? Do you have any relatives that are living there? So here's what I can do, Toti. I think that I'm going to do a little search for you, and I'll find some.
Thank you a lot. Thank you.
I'll find a couple of websites that have questions for you. Like here. Oh, I found here's a perfect one. A1 level speaking questions. What is a special day for you? What
My
day is a
special day? Yes. Yes. My special day is Friday because it's weekend in my country.
Okay. All right. And what do you do on Friday to celebrate Friday? What do you do?
On Friday, I sleep over because I like to have some relax.
Okay.
Then I wake up late.
Okay.
I do some house chores. I clean my house. I have my breakfast.
Okay. All right. What do you like about your best friend?
Yes, I like about my best friend. She is true, honest, faithful, helpful. She's helped me when I need her, when I ask her for a help.
Okay. Good. Let's see. Are you an organized person?
Yes, I like organize.
Can you give
Every-
some examples of how you're organized?
I respect dates.
How are you organized?
I organize my time to do everything.
Okay. All right. So these are questions that I found here on this website that I can give you. If you send me a message on Hello Talk, then I can send this to you. Let me see. How big is this?
Thank you a lot.
No problem. And you can do some searches. You know, a lot of this information is out there, but you have to know how to find it, right? So.
Thank you. Can she practice right now with you? Would you mind?
Well, we just did. And it's about time for me to take a break, so I need to go here soon. But
Sorry, thank you
that's
so
okay.
very much.
No,
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too. But let me make sure I can give this to you. So yeah, the link is too long for me to put it in the chat here. But if you send me a private message, then I can send this link to you later. Okay? So make sure you send me a private message on Hello Talk, and then I can give you this link, okay, for these A1 questions, and then you can try to practice them a little bit yourself. But just be honest, smile, and relax. Remember, before you go into your interview, I want you to do this one very important thing, okay? Watch me. Watch. This is the most important thing that you need to do before any interview. Watch.
I sent to you right now message, okay, or a private message
Okay.
to write a website
Okay.
that we will going to
Okay.
visit.
But really, listen, this is very important. Before you go into any interview, you have to do
Yes.
one very important thing. Take a deep breath. Take a
Yes.
deep breath, because language is a performance. And if you want to perform well, you have to be relaxed and calm. So before you go to your interview, I want you to just close your eyes for a second. And now you're ready. Okay? Every human being needs to understand that if your phone is not working correctly, what do? You turn it off and you turn it on. If your computer is not working correctly, what do? You turn it off and you turn it on. You reset, right? You reset. But the human body also has a way to reset. And the reset button for the human body is one good deep breath. Take one good deep breath and you reset your mind and you reset your heart, and now you're ready to perform. Okay? So
Okay.
take a deep breath before you go in. Okay?
Thank you for advice.
You're welcome.
That's golden advice. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. You're welcome. I'll say Afwan.
It's very nice from you.
So
Arabic.
thank you for coming on my stage and talking to me, and make sure you follow and come back and see me again, okay?
Which time or what time you are be live here
I'm
in this
usually
application?
here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, usually, if I'm not busy. And right now, I have been here for about 2.5 hours. So I started at about 8:30 a.m. my time, and it's 11 a.m. my time now. Okay, so I usually start around 8:30 or 9 or 9:30 a.m. New York City time. Okay, so
Thank you.
yeah, if you find New York
You
City
you
time,
are going now? You are going now on a break, then you will
Yes.
come back, go back?
I should be back later for a voice room, but not for a live stream. A voice room is a little bit different. There's no camera, but I will probably
Okay.
have time to do a voice room later. Okay?
Thank you a lot, teacher.
You're welcome. And it was nice to talk to both of you, and good luck on your interview. You'll be fine.
Good luck to you.
Just relax and remember what I said. Just relax and be honest and smile, and you'll be okay. All right?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
You're
you a
welcome.
lot.
All right. Take care, both of you.
Okay.
And I'll see you next
See you
time.
again. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay. And hello, Serge. Yes, I play music. I'm a drummer. Thank you, Jojo Dode. Okay. All right. So again, it's time for me to take a break. I've been here for about 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes almost. Please don't forget to go to my YouTube channel and follow my YouTube channel. If you support me, then you have to follow my YouTube channel, okay? Go there, watch the videos, share the videos, go to your other social media platforms and make a post about me. Make a post about me. If you like me, take a minute and help me. Take a minute and help me by telling other people, okay? I'm already kind of famous on Hello Talk, so you can tell people on Hello Talk, that's okay, but I have 64,000 followers here already. But I need a lot more followers on my YouTube channel, okay? So please, I'm begging you, if you like what I'm doing, then understand that I cannot keep doing this if I don't get enough support. I cannot keep doing this if I don't get enough support from everyone. All right, so please go to my YouTube channel and follow me there. All right. You're welcome, Iman. Are there any courses there? Sala, you can sign up for private lessons with me. If you want private lessons with me, then yes, go to my profile page on Hello Talk and you can purchase private lessons from me. Okay, it's not free. It's not free. I am a professional teacher, so you have to pay me. And I live in America, so it's a little expensive, but it's worth it. I promise you, if you get one lesson with me, just one, I'll teach you things that you've never heard before about language. Okay? You don't need to buy 100 lessons from me. If you just buy one, I'll help you. I promise. Okay? All right. How much per hour? Well, on Hello Talk, it's, what is it? $25 per hour or $12.50 per half hour. Okay? US dollars. All right? And that's not the most expensive teacher on Hello Talk. And my YouTube channel is right here. Okay? All right. So that's going to be it for me today. $25 per hour, Valentina. $25 per hour. Okay? Or if you just want 30 minutes, then it's $12.50 per hour. Or per half hour, sorry. 30 minutes. $12.50, 30 minutes. 25, 1 hour. Okay? All right, everyone. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for following. Thank you for participating. Have a good morning. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening wherever you are in the world. And remember what I tell you, you have to be a language warrior. Okay? There's no shyness allowed in language learning. Okay? All right. Well, thanks. And I'll see you guys probably later. I'll have a voice room. I need to do another voice room, so I will have one later today. Okay? And thank you, Islam, for your support and your help again. Thank you, Erica. Okay, guys. See you. Bye-bye. Thank you over in my YouTube channel as